You see, your mind can take you from a life of mediocrity to a life of a champion, or can take you from the life of a champion to the life of a mediocrity. But what really affects your mind is the things that you feed it. For example, a computer, the mind of a computer is a CPU, is the central processing unit of the computer. When people want to destroy a computer, what do? They send malwares into that computer. And what happens to that computer? It begins to malfunction. It does not do its major purpose anymore. The computer was supposed to speed up tasks for you, was supposed to make life easier for you. But now you're trying to use the computer, it's hanging. Somebody hacked into your bank system, and your life is going on a spiral movement and it goes down. That is the same way the human is. So your mind is like the central processing unit that guides everything that you do. And whatever you allow to go into your mind will shape your ideology, will shape your perspective, will shape your outlook on life. And so the question I want you to ask yourself is, what am I feeding my mind? If you are at a place in your life right now and you feel depressed, you feel stressed out, you feel emotionally beaten, you hate your work, you hate the things that you do, I want you to look back and ask yourself, why? Why am I feeling this way? Why are these things happening to me? Be completely open to the ideas. Be open. Don't try to hide anything. Look, just take a step back and sit in your room or somewhere, kind of like a meditation, and reflect back in your life. Why am I tensed? Why am I frustrated? Why do I hate who I am? Why do I not enjoy what I do? What is driving me? These questions will help you to discover the hidden void within yourself. And you have to understand that the reason why you found yourself where you are was because of what you were feeding your mind. And your mind shapes your actions because your mind shapes your thought, and your thought influence your action. And that is why you find yourself where you are. So now you got to look back and take a step back. What have I been feeding myself? Is it hanging around the wrong circle? Oh, I tell you, your circle will affect your mind a lot. The things you listen to, the people that you listen to, the people that guide you really affects your mind a lot. So the circle you hang around with, what are the things that you watch? What are the kind of books that you read? What are the kind of things that you listen to? All of these things, they pile up in your mind and they shape your life. So when you want to go from being frustrated, from being hopeless, from being depressed, from being suicidal, like Caleb shared, he had to take a step back and question himself, what am I even doing with my life? And then God came to him. The moment you start questioning these things, that is when you experience the true transformational power of meditation, because this is when God will come to visit you. This is when God will reveal himself to you. This is when God will come to you and say, okay, now you are ready. Like he said, time to come home, time to come home. This is when you will now come home to that real thing that you're created for. The world is filled with so many distractions all around there. You go on Instagram, you find a lot of inflated life. You see people pretend that they live bougie life. Now, let me tell you, some of those private jets you see, they are photoshops in a shop that someone just did. And you go out there, see those things, and you feel depressed and you feel frustrated about your life. No, man, it's not about that. Some people, everybody lives are not created equal. Now, some people, their purpose is a higher purpose. Some people might not be so much of a higher purpose, but it meant to be that way. We are supposed to come together. And regardless of the magnitude of the influence of your purpose, it is still an higher calling. It's still an higher purpose. Maybe your purpose might be to influence 10 people's life all through your lifetime. Some people purpose might be to influence 2 million people's life individually. Let me tell you, when you influence 10 people's life, you've kind of influenced over hundreds of millions of people when you count through time. Because when you influence one person's life, that person goes and influence 10 other people and 10 other people and 10 other people, and it's a ripple effect. So what we have brought to you here today is for you to take a step back and question your life. Go on a journey of discovery. Question why you are where you are today. Question why you are on this earth. I heard something one time that when the sperm is being released, into the lady's private system, it's only one sperm that makes it to the egg. And within that sperm, I think they said there are 1 trillion eggs or so. Imagine that you are the only one that made it. That tells you something about your life. That you had 1 in a million or trillion chance to be alive. Do you think that was by mistake? That was not by mistake. It was for a reason. And this is why you got to understand that you are here today by a divine miracle. It's by chance that you are here today. It's by purpose that you are here today. God purposely made it that you are the only egg that makes it to your mother's ovary, and then you're alive today, which tells you that there is a deeper meaning to why you are on this earth. When God created Adam and Eve in the book of Genesis, He told them to manage the earth. He created everything already before He created humans. God created the sun, the stars, moon, everything, the animals, the plant. They were all there. And then He finally created the humans and He told them, manage the earth, manage everything, till the ground. What does that tell you? You were never supposed to work for anything. It is all there for you. You just got to manage it. And that is where the idea of working smart comes in. You see, when you enjoy what you do, it's no longer a job, it's no longer a work. It's a passion. You enjoy it. And the only way to discover that thing is to discover your purpose. Steve Harvey shared one story one time. I'm not sure if it's Steve Harvey or somebody. One of those prominent motivational speaker shared something one time. He said he was at an hotel one day, and then you find this woman who was a cleaner. And the woman do bake cookies sometime. And so the woman baked that cookies and gave it to him. And he so much loved the cookies. And then he told the woman, he said, "These cookies you baked is so great. Why don't you go start your own cookie business? I think you're very good at it." And she was like, "Well, okay." She went to it eventually. And when the man will see her some couple years later, guess what? She is now worth $40 million, and she employs over, I don't know, she said 300 plus or 1,000 plus people, with different branches all over the world. You can imagine that from selling cookies, from literally selling cookies. So that cookies was the captivation. The main purpose was to provide job for people. Because when you provide job for people, you transform their life. You give them the ability to earn. And when they earn, they're able to take care of themselves, meet their needs, and also take care of the people that depend on them. So imagine, because that woman followed a purpose of creating a company, of giving people very nice cookies, she employed people, also giving them great jobs, that helps them to feed and provide for their family, providing more jobs for people, taking people out of poverty. To me, her ultimate goal was to save 1,000 people from poverty. And she achieved that doing cookies. What a powerful and beautiful way of discovering your purpose. So, like Daniel has shared, it will happen to different people different way. I would not say there's a particular framework, or there's a particular formula to discover your purpose. But one thing I can tell you for sure is that engage in self-reflection a lot, engage in meditation a lot, question things, question life, question everything. And when you do so, do not forget to pray, because when you pray, you gain clarity. God is truly the only God, and He's the one that runs the whole universe. I can tell you that. I have so many evidence to prove that. We're not going to get into that today, but maybe that will be another episode. But I have many evidence to prove that, and it's just the fact, it's the reality. I was one of those people that got to believe God through factual confirmation of the Bible, and what I discovered was that everything in the Bible was true. It's fact. It happens. Trace it back to Adam and Eve. I was in a conference where somebody was comparing evolution with creation. And the only thing that logically makes sense based on a fact was creation. Evolution was just a whole bunch of made up theories and some assumptions and stuff like that. That when you share to another person, they're like, "Man, seriously, you out of your mind. You don't know what you're talking about." But creation, you can trace it to the root. You have fact to logically prove it. And so this right here is how you discover your purpose. Key things we talked about: self-reflection. First, you got to question things. You got to question your life. You got to question why you feel the way you feel, why you experience the things you experience. You got to question what really gives me a deep meaning, what gives me fulfillment, what do I do, what am I really good at? Because as that woman, she was very good at baking cookies, and that led her into her purpose of creating jobs for thousands of people. What am I good at? What brings me fulfillment? What do I do and makes me feel like my best self? Because when you invest in what you're good at, in your gift, that is your purpose. Now, how you use that to achieve the main purpose, it will eventually fall in place by itself. And so, what am I really good at? What am I passionate about? What brings me fulfillment? What do I do that makes me feel alive? And how do I achieve this dream? How do I build more on this purpose? How do I invest in myself? How do I amplify this gift? Continue to invest on that. Continue to ask these questions. Why am I here on this earth? What am I here to do? Look at how you have interacted with people. In your interactions with people, how do they feel? Sometimes that is how you discover your purpose. When I discovered that I was a good speaker and God has given me the grace to influence people, was because some people gave me some testimony about their life, and I began to question and began to think back that, wait a minute, when I did this, he was able to produce this result. And hearing the stories of the testimonials felt so good. And so this is one of the ways that you can journey into discovering your purpose, asking these questions, discovering these things, and going through that loop. And above all, putting God first and praying to God. This is where you finally now discover how to achieve your purpose and live a purposely living. I can tell you, when you find these things and you follow that sequence, life will be much more fulfilling than it is right now that you're currently living.